Now we're in Lithuania. This is the western Lithuanian harbor town of Klaipėda, which was Memel in German for many years. And so for Lithuania, it has kind of a German stamp to it, although at this point the town is ethnically Lithuanian, and this possibly once German Lutheran church is now Catholic. One of the nice things, and somebody, I think you asked about the languages, is that over the last 30 years, the language of tourism in the Baltic also has become English, because they know that everybody from other parts of Europe as well will know English, at least enough to navigate. So when you see one of these towns, for example, it's the old city, here it says Old City Plan. This is Palanga, again, the sandy, stony coast of Lithuania. Just a lot of beautiful sights. If we zero in on Lithuania a little bit, then one of the interesting things is you will see kind of snaking along the western edge, southwestern Klaipėda, toward what is now the Kaliningrad Oblast of Russia. You'll see this long finger of land, and that's called the Courland Spit, and it actually is like a between 1 and 4 kilometers wide a sand dune landscape with some small fishing villages that is just an amazing place to see, and that's how it looks in real life. So in fact, here's another. That's Nida, the southernmost town along that little finger of land. But again, just miles and miles and miles of dunes. Which, yes, there are people there. It's not completely a moonscape, but you can imagine a place like this in Holland along the Frisian Islands or something, the Frisian Islands of Germany or on the North Sea, and they would just be choked with settlement. You'd expect erosion to have actually over a few thousand years to do away with this, and it hasn't happened yet. Kalnin is one of the beautiful bluff beach villages in western Latvia, and they did have enough of a storm to make some of the beautiful sand cliffs collapse, because that's what sand cliffs do, and this is still there. It is something to see. But this is it's kind of fun because you see just the feel of the town, the way the town's laid out is somewhat different. Lithuania has a different demographic, a different religious tradition. Historically, while the Latvians and the Estonians were having their towns built by Germans, it was Polish influences and Russian influences that sort of made Lithuanian towns have the feel they do. I believe this is Šiauliai, and it's a north-central, mid-sized town. Lithuanians are famous for being the most fun to be around of the 3 Baltic states. So the Estonians have got their ducks in a row better than everybody. The Lithuanians are the most fun to be around. This is Panevėžys. Again, you'll see a lot of places where, and this is actually kind of fun, because you'll see a lot of towns all across the Baltic where it was heavily industrialized, war had flattened these towns, and so quickly they built up cheap Soviet-era housing, and in many ways you look at it as kind of an eyesore. And yet you go up and you see the people in these places that, oh my gosh, it's the projects, this is bad news. And no, they're modest, they're kind of shabby, they're not architectural gems, and yet they're where life happens and where you'll hear music and meet nice people and have people living growing up in a different world, but still, being like us. This is actually a shot from Cindy's associate, Arina, who's Lithuanian. Because the Soviet authorities frowned on organized religion, on religious identity as part of local identity, people started putting up crosses on this hillside, and the authorities would take them down to sort of not enough of this nonsense, and of course that just sort of galvanized people to keep putting them up. And now, of course, since the 1990s, it's been this kind of great triumphant expression of religious feeling, local religious feeling. 10,000 crosses there now, yeah. And some of them are very eccentric because nobody's vetting them. Nobody's saying, oh, that's a tacky cross. That's not our kind, dear. And so it's a very interesting experience, kind of a spontaneous outburst in the 21st century. This is Kaunas. It's the second largest Lithuanian city. It was the capital of independent Lithuania between World War I and World War II. A lively music scene. I guess some good sports teams. Again, you see Soviet-era high-rise apartments built on the edge of town there, and yet it's a working town. And the new capital of Lithuania is Vilnius, which in the interwar period belonged to Poland. And you can see Vilnius is just a pearl of a city. I've only been there once, but again, this just beautiful Baroque architecture, very much sort of counter-Reformation, Polish Central European influences, just giving it just a cozy feel. Again, in the old town, just the walk through of just what the old city feels like.